Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Manxiety Podcast.
We're your hosts, Ashad and Matt. Before we get started, if you're enjoying this show, please subscribe so you can get notified of new episodes.
If you want to share this with your friends, you can find us on all podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Matt, does my face look swollen?
You know, it's one of those coincidental moments where, as you said that, the camera stuttered a bit and it kind of paused on it, and I was like, "Are you just showing me your face, or is it frozen?"
Well, is it swollen though?
No, it looks good. It looks as beautiful as ever. I don't notice any swelling.
See, this time the dentist was friendly. Sometimes, they're foes, and then they'll just make your face swell up for the next 3 weeks or something. If you guys haven't realized by the title of this episode, this episode, we're talking about the dentist.
Yeah, and real quick, before we get into it, because I'm going to make this joke at some point, I might as well just do it. Have you seen Horrible Bosses, the movie?
Yeah.
Where
maybe
Jennifer Aniston's a dentist and she's trying to sleep with Charlie Day and all that stuff.
I think I've seen it, but not recently, so I don't remember a thing about it.
I was just saying, if that's what my dentist looked like, I'd be going a lot more often. I'd be I'm flossing. Look, oh, here we go. Show up.
Hey, I have a really good looking dentist friend. If you want to go start seeing him.
Hey, all right. Okay. Let's
shout out to Nick.
But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, you look.
Yeah,
good.
So I went to the dentist anyway. The reason for this episode is because I got my wisdom tooth out, which I think I'd mentioned maybe when we first started doing the podcast, and then I kind of and then Matt got his out, and then I kind of mentioned it again a couple weeks ago that I'm going to go and do the surgery. So yeah, real interesting experience, So when I first found out I had to get my wisdom teeth out, I was I was kind of hesitant about it. I didn't know how I felt about going under, and being put to sleep and all that, and getting general anesthesia and all that. Just because I know I've had anesthesia before, when I was a kid, but I don't remember any of that. I think I had laughing gas when I was young because I busted my lip and they had to sew it back together, so they did that. And I still vividly remember being in the hospital and having a face mask put on me and then being out, and that's all I remember. So it's very weird because I don't remember a lot of other things. So I think the biggest thing that was giving me anxiety and kind of making me stop to do it was that. Although just the dentist in general, I always... I've never really liked the dentist to begin with. I feel like most people don't, right? What is it you see it in old movies and TV shows and stuff. Dr. Payne, the dentist is this big monster with the humongous mirror or light or whatever on their head.
Yeah, and they poke around your mouth with sharp metal objects, and then they blame you when it bleeds. They're like,
"True,
you don't floss enough," and it's maybe don't stick me with that little gadget you got there, Doc, huh?
Yeah, give me that little, give me that little probe and let me stick it in your skin. Let's see if you bleed. How funny would that be? One day you're sitting there and the dentist probes it, and they're like, "You're bleeding. It's bad. You need to floss more." You just grab that shit, stick it in them. You're like, "You're bleeding. It's bad. Maybe you should toughen up your skin more."
Yeah, you need to heal like Wolverine or some shit.
Yeah, you're not using lotion enough. Your skin is too dry. That's why it poked so easily.
Please don't do that at home. This is not medical advice. That's how you get sued.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. But no, and back then, I didn't really care for dentists. I wasn't scared, but it was always so uncomfortable. And I had a pain management method that I used. When I was a kid, I read somewhere that your pain is in your mind, right? And as long as you can, if you can not pay attention to it, right? Kind of tune it out, then you won't feel the pain because again, it's all in your head. But the other thing was, if there's if you have a stronger pain, right, it'll mask the other pain. So what I used to do when I used to go to the dentist and like it would be painful is I would pinch my thigh. And so like as they were doing stuff, it started to hurt. I would just like give my thigh like really strong pinches, and so my thigh would hurt more, which was fine because my mouth wasn't hurting, which I feel like is a little bit more sensitive. So I did that for years, and I think eventually my dentist like caught on one day. He's like, "What are you doing with your hand?" I'm like, "It hurts, so I'm making myself hurt, so it hurts less." He's like, "Oh, I could just give you more anesthetic, right?" But that was an issue too because I hate being numb. So, and I don't know if I've told you this before, but like when I go to the dentist, unless they're doing like a crown or something, unless it's something more than a filling, I usually don't get anesthetics. Like I just have them do it because I can take 10, 15 minutes of pain. I'm okay with that. But what I hate is being numb for the next 4 hours. And the other thing is, I feel like it also kind of gives me anxiety because the numbing stuff they use increase your heart rate. So, like, it, like, naturally, right, like, your heart starts racing, and then, like, your mind is like, well, my heart's racing, I must be feeling anxiety, so you start feeling anxious. Because you're just laying there, too, and then I also feel like sometimes I'm there and, like, I can move, but, like, you kind of feel trapped, right, because they got all these gizmos and shit in your mouth, and it feels like you can't really do anything. But anyway, that's how I usually feel at the dentist. The procedure, though, surprisingly, I realized that it wasn't the procedure itself that was making me anxious. It was going under. It was getting general anesthesia. So when I found out that I don't have to do that, they were just going to do local. Like, I was fine. Like, I was completely fine. I mean, I got there, my stomach hurt a little bit, kind of like normal. That usually happens a little bit, but it wasn't like, I wasn't rushing to the restroom. It was like that kind of pain that I knew was manageable. So it hurt a little bit. I was sitting in the chair, and then as soon as he started, all that went away. I was completely fine. And it's funny because he sat me in the chair, right? Or the like helper did. And I guess the arm was out because they do the procedure in the same place where they use general anesthesia. So the oral surgeon walks in and he's like, "Oh, you can't put the IV in that arm. It has to go in the other arm." And both me and the the aide at the same time are like, "It's just local anesthesia." So then he's like, "Oh, okay." So he pushes it in, and then he went to do something, and he came back. He's like, "Yeah, so you want to prep the arm for the IV?" And both of us again are like, "It's local anesthesia." That was pretty funny. He's an older guy.
I don't give a shit how old he is. I would have been worried about that. I'm like, bro, I've told you twice. Don't put me under.
No, he might have been trying to be funny a little bit.
Okay.
Or maybe he was just an old guy and he forgot. But it's fine because, like, he forgets a little bit, but he has a lot of experience, right? It's like a trade-off.
I mean, until like you're
he pulls the wrong tooth out. Oh, I forgot that's the tooth.
Yeah, like he doesn't realize you're not under. Your just mouth is open. And you're just like closing your eyes because like the pain or whatever. And then he's just like, this is a real ugly looking son of a bitch. You're like, I can hear you, doc. Like,
that's pretty funny.
I mean? You're like, what? Wow, that's so crazy. Because like I mean, I've told you about my experience, like about being put under and getting mine. I was really worried about that too. But I had all 4 of mine out. And
at the same time, right?
Yeah, I think I had all 4 out. Yeah. Yeah, at the same time. So I was like, all right, I only have to do it once. You're going to do all of it. And we're just going to get it done. And we're going to go. And, yeah.
You survived.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fun case because I, got put under. And my whole thing was, I think I mentioned this on the podcast too, but like the office staff and the anesthesiologist were ridiculously hot. Like I thought I like walked into like a movie set or something, right? They were all super attractive, and I'm just like the whole time like, don't hit on the nurse, don't hit on the nurse, don't hit on the nurse. So I bet you as soon as I woke up, I'm like, will you marry me? Like, and I don't remember any of it. All I remember is being there and asking like, oh, are you going to count down to 10? Because I was nervous, right? And then, they put the gas on. I'm like, oh, I feel kind of like loopy. Oh, I feel like I'm high. And then I was like, oh, you're going to count down from 10? And like, no, we don't do that. And I was like, oh, what? She's like, yeah, we just kind of hit you with it. But if you want, I can count down. Like the doctor's, in the other room. He's coming in right now. And I was like, oh, okay. And then don't remember anything. So I'm pretty sure she was already ready and just like, fuck it. I guess like, yeah, I said 10. You forgot. Hit me with it. I woke up on my couch. And what I had done the day before was like prepare all the Marvel movies. I'm like, I'm going to watch every single Marvel movie in order. So I woke up, like I was there and I was like, okay, they put the IV in. Next thing you know, I'm on my couch, like my face is hurting. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Right. And then I'm putting on like Civil War. I think I started with Civil War for some reason, or Captain America Civil War.
Yeah.
Put that on.
Wait, why would you start with Civil War?
I don't know, because I was loopy. I had a plan going in and then I was like, oh, let's do this. And, I think I like put that on, and it was funny too, because the day before in jiu-jitsu, I got a black eye.
Oh no.
So I got elbowed in the face. So when I showed people pictures like, oh, I just had stuff, and I posted like Instagram, they're like, dude, did your dentist punch you in the face? Like, no. That was somebody else.
That was the anesthesiologist that I hit on. She hit me real hard.
Like, nah, but it was such a trip, because then like I remember putting the movie on, and then I woke up at the credits because I think I just fell asleep, and I was like, wait, am I time traveling again, or did I sleep? But apparently,
and you realize that you traveled back a day, so you haven't even gone to the dentist yet.
Oh my god, it was all a fucking dream. No, that's a bad movie script that I don't need a part of me. And the funny thing though was on the way, because I don't remember any of it, right? Like I don't remember being in a wheelchair, getting wheeled out, going to the car, and my roommate drove me home. The whole time I was like, hey, did they take my teeth? And I would like go like, did they take it? Or is it there? I could feel it. And he's like, the doctor literally just said, like, keep your mouth shut, keep it, tight, so that you don't have clots. I don't remember any of it, right? But I was like, and he's like, no, they took out your teeth. You're okay. You're okay, Matt. Calm down. I was like, okay. And then I guess like 30 seconds, and I was like, did they take my teeth? And then so he's like, I was gonna wire your jaw shut because you're such an idiot. Like, did I no idea?
That's pretty funny.
Man. I made the mistake of telling my roommate, don't record me. And he took that to mean don't record me at all. Whereas what I was trying to say in my anxious state beforehand was like, don't record me unless it's on my phone. Because like, you can record me on my phone. Like if I can choose, if I say something stupid and I get to delete it, that's fine. If you record me on your phone and all of my friends have it before I realize what I said or did, or like, oh, look at my teeth, that's going to be a bad time. So he just didn't record me at all. So I have zero idea what happened in those time frames.
It's all good.
But that does sound scary, of course. But it was a good experience overall for me, because I was able to tackle some of that and kind of come out of it. So, with your experience now that you just had this, even though, you didn't get put under, do you feel like, other than the doctor almost forgetting that he was going to put you under, do you feel like less anxiety around getting that, like what is considered like a mid-level treatment? Like it's not really minor, it's not really like super major, but it's a big deal getting your wisdom teeth out, right? I think you probably dropped like what, 15 IQ points this week?
Why is that?
Because you got your wisdom tooth out, which is funny because you said tooth, and I'm like, yes, tooth, because you only got the one out.
Exactly. No, I still retained one wisdom tooth, so all the wisdom transferred over to that one. So I maintained the same amount of wisdom.
And what's cool about this, if you didn't know, for people listening at home or watching at home, depending what you're doing, is some people are born without all 4 wisdom teeth.
Well, everyone is born without all 4 wisdom teeth.
No, I had all 4. Some people
don't
are born
they come in when you're in your late teen years? I guess they're in there. They just come out later, right?
Sorry, yeah. Like some people like they never like develop them later.
Oh,
so like in your case where you got the 1 out and you have 1 more, you don't have 2 more. So like for me, they were like, we're gonna take all 4 out at once.
Well, no, I had 4.
Oh, you had 4.
Yeah, so I had 4 wisdom teeth. I got 2 of them out like years ago, like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Because I've heard stories of people only being born with 3 total.
Gotcha.
Like
no.
total.
So yeah, no, I had all 4. I've never told you this. So this is another reason why. Well, don't like dentists. Didn't like dentists. I do like my dentist now, but didn't like dentists. And I've also stopped going to that dentist was because one day I went into my dentist, and I think I had just started college maybe. So I went to my dentist back home, back in LA, and I was going for a regular tooth cleaning. I think it was on a Friday because I didn't have class that day, and I was supposed to go after my cleaning. I was supposed to go see some high school friends and some teachers and stuff. So I go in, they do the cleaning. He's like, "Oh, like you need to take your top 2 wisdom teeth out." I'm like, "Okay, cool," right? Thinking that we're just gonna go schedule it for some other day. And the nurse comes in and starts giving me shots. I'm like, "Oh, like what are those for? I thought the cleaning was done." They're like, "Oh, we're taking your wisdom teeth out." I'm like, I didn't realize I agreed to do that today. So, yeah, I went for a cleaning and walked out with 2 less teeth. Maybe they took them out to clean them and polish them and put them back. I don't know. I thought I was just going in for a regular cleaning. But, yeah, so that's how I got my 2 teeth out. And then I didn't end up going to visit my friends in school because, obviously, my mouth was numb for the next 4 hours.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you have told me that before.
Yeah,
so that's definitely my mistake. But that makes sense. So you already had half your wisdom removed when I met you. So a lot of things.
Yeah, imagine how much more smart I was before. I don't think we could have been friends if I had all 4 teeth.
That's true because you came in as a math major. So you're like in high school, like I want to go into math, right? I'm going to be like a mathematician, and then you ended up basically a computer science major, which is still pretty smart.
I never thought of that. Maybe if I'd kept my 2 other wisdom teeth, I might have stayed with math.
It might have been like A Beautiful Mind, right? That's one.
Well, I don't want to become disabled, but
no, that's.
Oh, am I thinking of the wrong one? That's the theory of everything, huh?
Yeah. Let me.
Anyway, it don't matter. But yeah, so that's what happened. And then my other tooth that's still in there, basically. My bottom 2 wisdom teeth were impacted, right? Which means that they weren't growing out the right way. So my left one had kind of grown out, but it was growing out kind of sideways. Mm-hmm. And it was covered, right? Like my gum was on it. So that one would get food and shit stuck in there. So then like that's why they took that one out. My other one is growing completely sideways, like perpendicular to my other teeth. But it hasn't come out at all. And the thing is, he did his x-rays and all that, and he saw that it's near my nerve. And he was basically like, "Look, if it's not bothering you, it's up to you, but I would leave it because there is a risk that as we're taking it out, it might hit the nerve and you might, lose feeling in your tongue and your cheek." And he's like, this is the risk. Anytime we do any kind of surgery like this, and we do it all the time, so it's not like it's going to happen. It's just like, it's up to you. And and then I was asking him, how much more difficult will it be if I decide to wait, right? If it does cause a problem. I was like, let's say I turn 50, it starts causing the problem, I can take it out then. Is it going to be twice as hard to take out, twice as painful? Is it going to be 10 times? And he was basically like, if you get it out before you're 21, super easy. He's like, after 21, you hit 30, hard. He's like, past 30, it's not any different. It's the same shit. He's like, slightly harder, maybe, but he's like, it's like, from 21 to 30 is like when it gets significantly harder and like more painful for you. And then after that point, it's kind of like, it stays the same. It gets a little bit harder, but not much. So he's like, leave it in there. If it causes problems eventually, then, then we'll yank it out at that point.
Interesting. Shit. Well, that's why your other one was hitting you when you were in high school, dude. You're just like, yeah, let's just get these bad boys out now. Before 21, we're on a timetable here. Also, yeah. I made a mistake. Not A Beautiful Mind. Good Will Hunting is the one where Matt Damon is the super smart guy. That's the one I watched recently. I
haven't seen that. Or I have when I was young, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I recently watched it, but it's funny because there's like a scene that gets around a lot. I forget what comedian was talking about it, but they're like, the guy walks up to somebody and he's like, "Do you like apples?" Right? Because I guess like he gets like the girl's phone number or something, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I like apples," and he's like, "How about them apples?" And he like puts the thing up because he got the girl's number instead of that guy or whatever, and he's like, the comedian was talking. It's like, could you imagine the setup for that joke? Like, obviously, like they wrote the movie, so it worked in the movie. But it's like if I just walked up and was like, "Hey, Ashad, do you like apples?" You're like, yeah, I'm not like Shinigami level where I love them, but like, sure, I like apples. I'm like, oh, okay. Or like, what if you're like, he's like, no, I don't like apples. Like apples suck. I'm like, how about them pears? Like, what the fuck? Like,
hey, you said Shinigami. Have you seen Death Note?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you got that reference. At first,
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
I totally did.
Yeah, people at home will get it, but not a shot. Yeah, I recently
No,
rewatched
there was someone
it.
else. Yeah, no, I heard Shinigami somewhere else as well, and I was like, is that like I knew it from Death Note, but I was like, is it something else too? Like, is it like, you know, should I have known about Shinigami before I watched Death Note? But I think I then kind of looked into it, and it is at least the major references from Death Note.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I gotta watch Good Will Hunting. What I've been watching recently are all the Grammy-nominated Best Picture movies. Oh. I think we've made it through 4 or 5 of them.
What's the best? I don't even know what the movies are. What's the best?
Coda was really good. Coda's an Apple TV Plus exclusive. Stands for Child of Deaf Adults. Very good movie.
Okay.
Don't Look Up is on Netflix. That one was pretty good. Kind of on the nose with kind of stuff that happened. It was very like apocalyptic, right? Like apocalypse was gonna occur, but like very like funny at the same time, and a lot of like references to stuff that's happened within the last 3-4 years. Which one did we? Power of the Dog was very weird. That one, it's a Western, but very odd Western. Not a lot of talking, a lot of acting, and then like kind of like a surprise in the end ish. Not really a surprise, but anyway, we didn't like that one too much. And Tragedy of Macbeth I'm watching now with Denzel Washington. It's the play, but like they made a movie of it, and Denzel plays Macbeth.
Interesting. I've heard of Don't Look Up because I've seen that. But I'm a huge Denzel fan. I just rewatched Book of Eli.
Oh, I love Book of Eli, man. That is such a good movie.
Yeah. But anyways, we're like gonna segue into movies.
I know.
Too.
And then Dune. Sorry, Dune is on there too, which we saw. Oh, and West Side Story, which we saw that too. Dune was really good. Kind of slow in my opinion. I don't know about slow, but just not a very satisfying ending, I guess. And then
well that's a 2-parter, right? Isn't there supposed to be like a second part to Dune?
I think it's supposed to be a trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Eventually. But yeah, so that we've only seen kind of the first Dune. And then the other one that I mentioned was West Side Story. And West Side Story was pretty good. I don't think I'd seen the original, so I didn't really have anything to compare it to, but I did enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Anyway, I just saw No Way Home.
The Spider-Man?
Yeah, the new Spider-Man, yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was.
You like it?
Oh yeah, dude. There were some man tears shed.
Oh, for
a
sure.
little bit when things were happening. I'm like you're not gonna. Are you gonna do that? And then like they did things. I was like, what the? I was like pissed, but yeah, it was great. I want to get it on 4K Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
So just then rewatch it on my TV and stuff. Yeah, it was good. I actually wanted to rewatch all the Spider-Man movies,
like the old ones too with Tobey.
Yeah, like I saw those ones when I was younger, and then I don't think I really saw The Amazing Spider-Man. I think I saw maybe like bits and pieces of it, but I didn't really remember much from that.
I didn't really care for what's his name, Andrew Griffith, Andy Griffith, no, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't really care for those Spider-Man movies, to be honest. Like I like Tobey a lot. Andrew Garfield. Yeah. There you go. And then I've liked Tom Holland a lot, but yeah, it's cool, man. I want to go see Batman, which I've heard is really good. But now we're digressing into stuff that have nothing to do with dentistry. So let's get back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, well, that's a good technique to distract yourself, okay? If you're at the dentist, put on a movie, listen to a podcast, listen to us talk about the dentist.
So I'm in the chair, right? He starts doing his thing, and, he shoots me up with the anesthesia.
He shot you up with drugs.
With drugs. He shoots me up with the local anesthesia, right? And he gives me some time. And then he's like, and he starts drilling, right? Because he had to drill into my tooth to be able to, I don't know why they drill, actually. So he drilled, but I have no clue why. I was going to tell him that I'm very well versed in using drills since I've, moved into the house. And I can help him drill if he wanted me to, but my mouth was wide open, so I couldn't really say all that. But so he drilled, right? And he finishes drilling, and then he's like, all right, this can put some pressure. And he grabs it to try to yank it out. And it still hurt. And I kind of did a face, I think. And he's like, did that hurt? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, let's give you some more. So shot me up with some more drugs. Gave me a couple more minutes. And then he just he put his hand on my forehead. Got his other hand and was like, "Argh." I mean, he yanked it out. So it was fine. But yeah, it was pretty funny. I thought it was hilarious.
I've heard so many stories that I think they had to do that to my little sister where they literally yanked it out. I'm like, maybe it's not supposed to fucking come out if you have to use that much force. Obviously if they're growing in incorrectly, they're going to hit nerves. You should take care of it. But yeah, it's it's fucking strong for a reason.
Yeah. And then recovery, I was surprisingly fine. Even after the first day. I mean, I kind of didn't do much the first day. I was just laying down, watching TV. I got through the whole Arcane series, Netflix series, which was really good. But then the second day, even that first day, I think I went to Home Depot that first day. And the lady it was an older lady at the checkout line. And she's like, oh, long day, long busy day. I was like, no, I just got my wisdom tooth out. And she's like, why are you here? I was like, it's fine. I feel okay.
You're I was going to make a joke about drills, so I have to buy a drill to go tell my dentist that I bought a drill.
That would have been funny. But yeah, she's like, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at home? I was like, I mean, I feel fine. I just need to grab something. And she's like, if it was me, I would just be at home all day. I don't know how you're doing it. But she was very surprised that I was able to go to Home Depot.
Yeah, I mean, my recovery from mine was pretty good. My dentist or orthopedic surgeon, or I don't know, because it wasn't my dentist, I was referred out. Yeah. Which I also felt more safe with because my dentist was like, look, I'm going to refer you to a surgeon that has an anesthesiologist and everything. We're not doing it in-house. You're going to a specialist. It was just across the freaking street. Yeah. But I was like, oh, okay, cool. And one thing about the dentist that I don't like, and I think this is a lot of it for most people with the anxiety side, is you don't really know what's going to happen. So I will usually, when they start doing certain things, oh, okay, I'm going in for a cleaning. Oh, what are you doing first? So I usually just will ask them, what are you going to do? What are the steps that we need to do today? Yeah. And then from there, it's oh, we're going to do this. We're going to take x-rays. We're going to clean. And I'm like, okay, as long as I know what to expect, I'm a lot less why are you switching to that tool? Why'd you do, because when
you're a lot less strung up, right?
Yeah. And one way that my dentist distracts me now, and I love going to my dentist, I don't love going, but I don't mind going to her and her team, is on the ceiling, when I look up, there's pictures of animals. So it's how I would distract a kid. There's a cheetah, there's a lion. So in my head, I'm like, oh, they're all friends and they're hanging out and they're not trying to kill each other in this imaginary landscape. But that's hilarious. One time I went in and she didn't put me in the animal chair. She put me in the whatever chair where there was the adult chair. That's really what it was. But it was I don't know, maps or something else. And I was like, what the fuck? I paid for premium service to be in the chair in the back so I could see the animals.
You should have told her.
Somebody was in that chair. Yeah, so it was no big deal there.
No, it's funny because I like well, I like the dentist that I'm was going to, but she kind of like, she was on maternity leave, I think, like towards the end of, or like beginning of COVID. And then when I recently went, I think she had another kid, so she was still on maternity leave. So she hasn't really been there. But their office is super cool, just in general. I mean, they have Amazon Alexa set up in every room. And when you go in, the first thing they'll ask is, hey, what do you want to listen to? And, they'll just put on whatever music you like. So that's super cool. She's always very, her staff too, but mostly since I dealt with her, always open to discussing everything and telling me in detail kind of like what's going on and how everything is going to work and why we're doing it, which I love because I hated going to the dentist and they just sat me in the chair and started doing shit. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? When will it finish, right? So she was good about like, hey, like today we're going to take x-rays, take a look. And then after she did that, she actually like went through the x-rays with me and went like, all right, well, like, looks like you have a little bit something here, a little bit something there. We can do X, Y, and Z. It'll take this long, right? So like now I have like, I know what to expect. I have a goal in mind. I know when it's going to be finished. And it helps put my mind at ease. So she was awesome about all of that. And even with kind of me telling them, right, that I don't like anesthesia, she was just very good about it. And she's like, well, if at any point you need it, just raise your hand. We'll apply it, but, we'll try without it. And she would always be like very careful with it. I think she would do stuff or try to do stuff a little bit faster since I wasn't doing it with any kind of pain meds. So overall, it was just like, it was such a great experience. And it's funny because I would go to, her name's Dr. Angie, and Andrea goes to her husband, whose name is Dr. Dino, because they have the office together. So we had like, I had the wife and she had the husband, which was pretty funny, I thought. But now they're both like on leave, so there's only one dentist there that kind of takes care of everyone.
Dang, that's kind of cool. You get like advice from somebody like who's like married and been around their career and stuff a lot longer. You're like, yeah, so like this. Like my husband is like, oh, I should do that or shouldn't do this or whatever. That's kind of funny, like an all-in-one experience. But yeah, that's the thing. I think so many people have bad experience. Like I had experience when I was a kid, same thing, right? Like just sit in the chair, basically like, shut up, kid. Like we're gonna clean your teeth. We're gonna do this, and it was kind of just like patient in, patient out, patient in, patient out, and you feel like, and I'm the questioner. It's like, why this or oh, my mom said no fluoride. No, I don't care what your mom said. It's like, but she said fluoride causes issues, or whatever. It's like, I don't care. It's like, it feels like you're not being like respected and validated. Yeah. Right? Like I hate that. So I'm glad that you have a good experience. I have a good experience now. But yeah, I think if you don't have a good experience, it is worth looking up reviews and finding somebody new who's going to be comfortable with that and who you can tell your needs to and say like, look, I'm like, especially in your case where you're like, look, I'm going to do it without like Novocaine or whatever. That's like, oh shit. Okay. They have to be more careful. Right. But if you're like, I just want to know what's going on or I need this or whatever from them, like they are still providing like a service, right? And like you're a customer and you're valid in whatever you want to feel or do, right? If you're like, oh, I can't do this or I want laughing gas or whatever. And I think so many people have bad experiences and then that's why they don't go. And your teeth are like a lot of parts of your health where if it's not taken care of, it can lead to some like nasty stuff later.
Oh yeah.
Especially like if you have to get like a crown or you have to get like a root canal or like all these other major-ish procedures. Fortunately, I've never really had to deal with a lot of that, but I know people that have and they hate it and it sucks. And it's like, it is a part of life, but also if somebody can make that easier, it's just, it is such an anxiety ridden thing because I didn't go for years. I absolutely hated it. And it would always be like, I'd come home from spring break in college and I'd be like, oh, like, what's going on? And my mom would be like, oh, you have a dentist appointment at 8 a.m. on Monday. I'm like, well, that's great. First of all, you have to understand, I go to bed at like 3 a.m. and wake up at noon.
Yeah.
And also, it's my vacation. I don't want to but it would be like,
go to the dentist.
That's the time to do all the checkups because I'd be at home. So it's like, oh, you're going to the dentist, you're going to the doctor, I'm like, God damn it, this is not fun. But I started going more as an adult because I found my dentist and I felt really comfortable with her, but also because I recognized that, like, okay, there are times when I, don't floss enough or whatever it may be. And it's like, okay, like I do want to get that fixed and stuff. And, yeah, I mean, like an anxiety inducing event was maybe almost a year ago now, probably. I was eating the manliest food in the world, a salad. And, I bit into my fork somehow, like an idiot, because I was eating a salad and I was just like, "Argh!" And I chipped my tooth.
I remember that.
And I've chipped them before, but I just like called my dentist and I was like, hey, like, it was still during COVID and stuff time. Too. Yeah. And I was just like, hey, I know I'm due for a cleaning soon, but can I like do a cleaning, whatever? And I was like really calm. It was really surprising. And like, okay, this. I was like, yeah, I also like chipped a tooth. So like, if we can do something sooner, like, oh my God, you chipped a tooth today? I'm like, yeah. Like, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning? I was like, that's not a big of a deal. It's like a real small chip. And like, well, we'll fix it for you. Like, come in today. So my dentist actually made time, same day to see me.
Oh, that's really cool.
Which was cool because she's like, yeah, normally we close at like 4:35, but she was like going to dinner or something after, I don't know, doing something, and she's like, somebody got delayed, so come in, let's take care of it. We'll do a cleaning, we'll fix your chip and all this stuff, and that like really changed my perspective on it, where it's like, oh yeah, people do care. And in the media too, it's always hyped up, like you were talking about earlier with like the Dr. Payne and all this stuff, right? And like the dentist monster and whatever. It's always like a bad experience in movies where it doesn't have to be. But
yeah,
you don't want
I mean, look at
like,
Willy Wonka's dad. Super Willy pain.
Dad.
Yeah, Willy Wonka's dad was a dentist. Caused a lot of pain for him. And then he went and built a chocolate factory. Like,
Are you implying that everybody who's great had like a dad dentist? Like, did Steve Jobs have parents that were dentists? They caused him a lot of pain, so he became like a perfectionist and created like one of the most amazing companies in the world. I say that because you're a huge fanboy, and I also
am a huge fanboy.
Yeah.
But no, I completely agree with everything you just said. If you don't like your dentist, if it keeps causing you anxiety when you have to go, like, find someone else. Most people, I think, stick to the dentist that they used to go to as a kid, that their parents found, or like the family friend or something like that. And even though, like, yeah, it's great to support, like, your parents' friends or whoever, I feel like sometimes when they're like close like that and when they're related, I don't know, like, it kind of takes away from that dentist-patient relationship, because you have like this other relationship with them. And like, you may not feel comfortable saying something, right? Or you may like, they may not explain stuff because they're just like, I know this kid, I'll just do whatever I need to do and get him out of here. So it is always good to like look for a dentist, find someone that you're going to be comfortable with, and then start going there. When I came back to LA, like, I did research, and I found this dentist through Yelp, and they had so many amazing reviews, right? I mean, some not so amazing ones, which is fair. It happens. But none of them that had to do with like the work they did or any of that. Some of them was like billing or like stuff like that. But, again, I found one that I was comfortable with. And if I wasn't comfortable with them, or if at any point I'm not, I'll just look again and find someone else. You don't have to stick to the same dentist.
Yep. 100%. I mean, typically the way I find anybody I'm going to in my life, a primary care doctor, a therapist, I just ask a shot. Who did you see in the area? Because literally we went to the same therapist and the same primary care doctor, because I'm just like, hey, you give me a recommendation. You do research.
You should have gone to my same dentist too when I was still there.
Yeah. Right. Because yeah, that makes sense because they're here. But yeah, and same thing with therapists too. Like, so many people say like, I didn't really click with this person. Right. Try somebody else. Don't stop until you're satisfied with it. Or even like if you're worried about COVID stuff still, like if they're not making accommodations, like whatever that may be. Obviously it's tough for you because you have to have your mouth open at the dentist, right? But yeah, just make sure, you feel comfortable in that relationship and that ultimately, it's benefiting your needs. And if you haven't gone in a while to the dentist, especially during COVID, it's very easy to not go and not go to checkups and things like that. Maybe think about it, right? Especially if you are having any pain or anything.
Yeah, I didn't go for 2 years. Like, when COVID started, I had an appointment like maybe like 2 weeks after the lockdown started. And obviously that got canceled. And then like they called me a year later and I was like, I'm still not comfortable going. And they didn't, some dentists might like try to convince you to go or something. They didn't say a word. They're like, whenever you feel comfortable, give us a call. So it wasn't until this year, right? Like a whole 2 years later that I went for a cleaning. I think it was in like January that I finally went in for a cleaning. So, that's another great thing is like they're not just kind of what you were saying, right? They actually care. They're not just out for it for the money.
Yep. Same thing happened with my dentist. Because they were like every 6 months, I had like standing appointments. I was like, yeah, let's push it back. Cases are still up. Let's push it back. Oh, we got Delta. Let's push it back. Oh, whatever. Yep. And then the reason I did go was when I chipped it. I was like, fuck, like I'm on the Zoom meetings every single day.
Yeah.
And it's going to bug me. I'd rather just go get it fixed. And seeing the level of care and stuff that they took and the precautions that they took at that time, I was like, oh, okay, like you're doing what's right. And she was telling her other patients to stay home too. She's like, if you don't feel anything, don't come in. Now, still brush your teeth and floss and do all the stuff.
Of course.
Right? But yeah, I think that's like a good takeaway is that people do care. And I think a lot more people care than we tend to realize because the media is so polarizing and politics and all this stuff going on. And I think at the end of the day, people are people. They're going to care for you. You just have to make sure that your needs are being met and speak up if you don't feel that they aren't being met, And
yep.
Yeah.
So answer to the mighty question, dentist, friend or foe? I think friend.
Yeah, I was like trying to think of something. I was like, foe, but that doesn't make any sense.
No. Anyway, but great advice. People do care. I think that's great. One great takeaway. And second great takeaway is if you don't like your dentist, find a new one. You're not married to them.
Yeah.
And if you are married, you can get a divorce, right?
Right. And if you don't like your manxiety advice podcast, tough shit, all right? We're sticking here for the long term, all right? You don't get to turn off this channel, all right? We're not leaving.
That's hilarious.
But I did want to say, kind of closing us out, thank you. I was going to say this in the beginning, but thank you so much, everybody, for listening and continue to listen and everything. But also, for those of you that are brave enough and strong enough and everything to share your stories and what you're going through and anxiety. Recently, I was talking to a friend at work, and they were sharing some of their story, and it's a lot of stuff we talk about here. And I wasn't like, oh, there's a podcast you can listen to, right? But I just thank them for sharing their story with me. And for being brave in that moment and talking about some of the stuff that they experienced. And it just reminded me that, we should be kind to each other and ourselves, right? Like we said, people care. But also, like, thank you for doing the work and for, continue to try to make the world a better place.
Great words, Matt. I will let that be the end. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you guys again next week.